think I have a yarn buying problem. I need to use the yarn that I have before I buy more. And this is only 1.5 boxes worth of my like 6-box stash. So yesterday I was planning on putting out my first podcast, however I've been unable to film because I have had a cold. So today I'm not going to show you my face, but we are going to go through one of my boxes of yarn that's in my stash and some stuff I've purchased recently, and we're going to do some organisation and I'm going to go through some projects that I have planned for some of my hand-dyed yarn. So that's what we're going to go through before. You're not going to see my face because I look really unwell still, but yeah, so let's start by going through some yarn. I'm going to go through my new purchases over here first, and then we're going to sort out this box. This box is lace, 4-ply and sock weight yarn. There's lots of hand-dyed yarn here. I'm going through a bit of a hand-dyed phase at the minute, so you'll find out anyway. So this is the first lot of yarn that came today. And it's from Lonely Mountain Yarns in Northern Ireland, and this set is what made me buy from her. So she's done some hand-dyed yarns that are inspired by the Fellowship in the Lord of the Rings, and I really love the Gandalf set. Gandalf's probably I like Treebeard. After Treebeard, Gandalf's probably my favourite character. So I bought this sock set, and usually I don't knit socks in sock weight yarn because it takes so long to knit, but I think that's actually what I'm going to do with this yarn. I think I'm going to knit my first pair of sock weight socks and have some Gandalf socks. And I just love the detail of how she's put the characters' names and a quote on these little labels here. And she said she's going to be dyeing up more in 100-gram balls and in double knit as well, so I'm really excited. So I'm not going to buy any more hand-dyed yarn unless she comes out with more Lord of the Rings themed ones, because I'm a massive fantasy nerd and I just couldn't resist. I also bought this set which is called the Flower Pot set. I'm not going to knit socks out of this, I'm actually going to separate it. The red's going to go into my mini skeins collection, and then this is probably going to be part of a shawl that I'll talk about later. So we're going to be organising my yarn, and I'm going to pull out some colours and decide what I'm going to be doing for a shawl that I've designed. But I'll talk a bit about that later. So then we've got some more purchases over here. So I went to Yorkshire Yarn Fest a few weeks ago, and I discovered Fruitful Fusion, and she's a really lovely lady, and she does a lot of dyeing inspired by her travels. And yeah, she did a bit of a sale and a shop update, so I couldn't resist and I bought some stuff from her after Yorkshire Yarn Fest. Actually, it was the week after. So yeah, so I've got a lot of these 100-gram sock weight yarn balls. This one's called Still Waters. This one's called Sunflower. It doesn't really come across on screen, but it's almost like a greeny yellow. It's lovely. And then this one, which is called Avocado Bomb, which is amazing. Excuse my dressing gown, I am in my pyjamas because I'm not well. So yeah. And then I've got this one called Garden Rose. And then this one that's called Seabed, which is really lovely. I've actually got a pairing with one of my stash yarns that I'm thinking for this. This one is Night Sky, and it reminds me a bit of that Vincent van Gogh painting, like it's those same sort of blues. And then this set, I can't bear to part them, I think they go so well together. It's the Andalusian set. I don't know how to say that. Yeah, and they're just so pretty together. So I might actually make something with those two together rather than splitting the set up like I normally do. So yeah, so that's all of my stuff from Fruit Fusion, and then in my sunflower bag I've got all of my purchases from Yorkshire Yarn Fest, so I thought we could have a little look through that as well. So Yorkshire Yarn Fest was like a 2-day event where there were lots of hand-dyed yarns, so yeah, I bought quite a lot of minis from a variety of vendors, and then some more there. And then these are they're called, I can't reach them. So these are called yarnings, and they're these little 5-gram balls of, literally balls of sock weight yarn, which are so cute. Yeah. And then I've got these two 50-gram hand-dyed tonals from Penny Makes. Yeah, I just thought they would be good to blend with some of the more interesting hand-dyed yarns. And this is a double knit actually. This is my first hand-dyed double knit from Quack Yarns. She was really nice to chat to as well, and it's just those same sort of dark bluey colours. I feel like I've been using a lot of warm colours in my recent makes, and I want to use some more blues because I love blue and I don't use it very much, and I just want to, yeah, I want to use more. So I've actually bought quite a lot of blue hand-dyed yarn. But the project that I'm planning is not going to be blues, it's going to be like pinks and reds, so yeah. And then this was the other dyer that I've discovered, Ducky Darlings, and I really love their colourways. This one's called Maple, which it does actually look like maple syrup, and then this one is Copper Kettle. I love this one so much, that rusty browny orange colour. And what I like about these as well is it's a lot of sock weight yarn is usually 75% superwash merino and then 25% nylon, but this one's actually got yak in it, which is pretty cool. So, and it feels really soft, and I really like the idea of trying some new fibres because I'm trying to move away from like man-made fibres, like stop using 100% acrylic yarn. So I like the idea of sort of exploring some alternative fibres that aren't just like merino. So yes, that's those two. And then the last one was, I actually did buy this at Yorkshire Yarn Fest, but it's from Fruitful Fusion again, and it's a sock set that I'm going to split up and then that'll go in my minis collection. So yeah, that's all my yarn purchases. I'm going to sort of tidy this up and then we'll go through that box and then pull some stuff out. Right, so I brought the camera a little bit closer to this box so we can go through it. On the box lid you can see that I've labelled it lace, sock and 4-ply yarns. I keep my yarns in these under bed storage boxes in a stack in a back room at the minute because we are in a rental house between selling a house and buying a house, so I haven't really got anywhere to put it apart from there, so they're just all stacked up in these boxes and I organise them into different sort of weights and fibres and stuff. So this is all of my lace weight, sock weight and 4-ply yarns. I've got leftovers, I've got fresh skeins, I've got all sorts in here. So what I want to do is I want to pull out all of the lace and potentially the 4-ply and just have this box as either hand-dyed yarn or sock yarn or with 4-ply. So we're going to go through, see what I've got in here. I might make some discoveries and stuff that I don't want to do. So I'm going to try and pull out all the lace weight first because I know that is definitely not staying in this box. So I've got a lot of this Debbie Bliss Rialto lace, and I've got 3 colours of it, and I've got quite a few balls of each because I got them so cheap. I got them like £2 each, and full price they're like £5 or £6. So they are lace weight yarn. So what I was thinking of was holding it double with some sock weight yarn to make a quicker knit. So yeah, but I've not actually used any of it yet. So I'm going to pull out all of my Debbie Bliss Rialto lace. These are actually different colours. This is ecru, just like a cream, and then white. So yeah, and then I've got some like golden coloured ones as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all of that out, and then this is another colour of it that I've got that I've had for longer. So, but I got this cheap on secondhand on eBay as well, like years ago. It's this really lovely like soft gold colour. And I'm thinking actually for this, because I've got 6 balls of this and I think I've got 5 balls of this. So what I was thinking of doing was holding multiple strands and doing a bit of a fade between this one and this one for like a lightweight cardigan was what I was thinking, or a pullover. Not really sure yet. We'll see. So yeah, and I've actually got some more Debbie Bliss Rialto lace as well. So I've got some leftover pink. I did knit a shawl in this for my mum, but I think it didn't last very long. I don't really remember what happened to it. I think it had holes in it. I can't remember. But yeah, so that's leftovers from a shawl, and that is just a ball of colour and the label's nearly ripped. So that's all of my Debbie Bliss Rialto lace. And like I said, it's 100% merino lace weight yarn. So it's like soft and squishy, and I love merino yarn, so it's lovely. I went through a phase where I did a lot of lace knitting, so I've got quite a lot of lacy yarn left over from that phase, and I don't really know what to do with it, apart from I don't really want to knit any more lace, if I'm honest. It takes so long. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And like, I bought most of this when I went through that phase, in like 2014 to like 2017 I went through a lace knitting phase. So yeah. And then yeah, so I've got some more here. Well, this looks like it's an abandoned project. That's some sort of grey lace weight. I don't know what fibre that is. It's quite fluffy. It feels a bit like alpaca, so maybe it's that. But anyway, that's small lace. I've got this nice dark blue as well. It's like, doesn't really come across, but it's almost like a dark grey stormy blue. Looks a bit brighter on screen than it actually is in real life. It's quite dull, you know? Not dull, but like grey, dusty. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So yeah, I don't really know what to do with a lot of this lace weight apart from hold it double. But yeah, so let's find some more. So I know I've got a lot of lace in here. So yeah, right. So this is a bunch of Fibre Space scrumptious lace, which was my favourite lace to work with when I was doing lace weight knitting. I've got some red and some of this purpley colour that I knitted a shawl in this. I think it's called like Echo Laminaria, and I knitted a shawl in this. I think it was the same pattern in this sort of like beigey colour too. And then I've got an unwound one here in like this burgundy pink colour. So yeah, like I don't want to get rid of this. They're pretty colours, and you know, this yarn was not cheap, but I've had it for so long and I've not used it. So I don't know. If you have any ideas of what I can do with lace weight yarn that isn't lace knitting, I would love to hear some ideas in the comments. Right, so we've got a bit more lace. So we've got some just plain cream here. This feels like it might be an alpaca blend as well. I don't know. I haven't kept the labels for a lot of this. So yeah, that feels a bit like alpaca again. And I know this one I think this is like a silk blend because it feels silky. But I've clearly like done some knitting and then abandoned it. I've got 2 abandoned projects here from when I went through a lace knitting phase. I've got no idea what these patterns are. But you can see I've got these abandoned bits. This is like a turquoisey colour, which I used to love, and it's not really me anymore. So I don't really know. I don't know. But yeah, so I'll pop that back in this bag. And then, and then this is some leftovers from an amigurumi kit that I got that's like 3 strands of lace weight held together. Which like, it feels like a rough wool. So I imagine it's probably 100% wool. Could be a wool acrylic blend actually from the feel of it. But yeah, so that was a leftover from an amigurumi kit that someone got me years ago. So that is all of my lace, I think. The rest in here is 4-ply and sock. So now I'm going to try and take out the 4-ply because the 4-ply may or may not be staying. So let's go through and find some 4-ply. Okay, so this is leftovers, including some leftover granny squares of my, I did a Kath Kingston inspired granny square in I think it was 2011 and 2012 I did it, and I'll put a picture on the screen. Yeah, so that's all my leftovers. I didn't realise until I opened this box up how much leftovers I actually had from that blanket. Like, this is like 11-year-old. I've had these leftovers for 11 years and I haven't done anything with them. They're 4-ply because beginner crochet me thought it would be a great idea to make a crochet blanket in 4-ply, and it took like 2 years. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with that either. I don't know. So yeah, and then we got some more 4-ply. So I've got, this is not in great state. This is 2 balls of Debbie Bliss Rialto 4-ply. Rialto is her 100% merino yarn, and she is a luxury premium brand of yarn, but I tend to get all of this cheap secondhand because I'm not paying £6 for a ball of yarn. It's ridiculous. I say that, but then I spend more than that on thing. Yeah, it's 100% wool. I think it's 100% merino, the Rialto. But yeah, so that's some it's like a dusky, petrol-y, turquoisey, teal colour. I don't know what else to call that. It doesn't have a name for the colour on it. So yeah, got 2 balls of that. And have we got any more 4-ply in here? Yes, we do. So that is 4-ply. Is that 4-ply? Yeah, that's 4-ply. What's that? That's sock. So yeah, and then I've got, these are... Ooh. So these are some leftovers of, it was a shawl, I think. I can't really remember. I don't know where the shawl even is. But yeah, it was leftovers from a crochet shawl. And this is Drops Baby Merino. So it's their 4-ply, 100% extra fine merino. So yeah, there's just like a dark grey and a light grey. So I feel like I should probably do something with all of this 4-ply yarn together. I don't know what, but yeah. There's some more 4-ply there. I wonder if I frogged that shawl, because that looks like frogged yarn. I don't know. Okay, so everything left in this box now is sock yarn and hand-dyed sock yarn. Some commercial, some hand-dyed. So we'll start with, I think, what my partner got me for Christmas. For Christmas, my partner got me these 3 balls of yarn. They are not cheap. This is, if I find the label, so it is Koigu Painter's Palette Premium Merino, 100% merino wool. And for it's like £15 for 50 grams, so it is expensive wool, but it was a Christmas present, and yeah, so that's what he got me for Christmas. I said what yarn I wanted, and then I said you choose the colourways, so that's what he did. He did good. I think he got me some good colours that I don't have in my stash, which is nice. So yeah, and I have knitted a shawl in this yarn before. Let me see if I can find the leftovers. There's the leftovers. So I used this yarn before for a shawl, and I'll put a picture of it on the screen here. That's the leftovers of it, and it was so nice to work with, and the colours are so beautiful. I don't know if I'll get him to get me any more of this yarn, because I kind of like the yarn from the independent hand dyers as well. So yeah, so that's the Koigu Painter's Palette Premium. I've also had one in my stash. I don't know where I got this. I imagine I got it cheap on eBay, because I went through a phase of getting lots of yarn off eBay cheap. Yeah, so that's another ball of skein. They're called skeins of Koigu Painter's Palette Premium. So I'll pull them out to one side, and then let's have a see what we've got in here. So yeah, so hedgerow yarns I've bought from her twice. Bought some minis and some full-sized skeins. There is one missing in here. I wonder if it's in my knitting bag. Let me go find it. Okay, I found it. It was in my knitting bag. So this is one I've already caked up, but so this is hedgerow yarns. So hand-dyed yarn is not cheap, and she is one of the more value for money, I guess, because her balls of yarn are like 100 grams, but they're more like 12 or 14 pounds, whereas usually they're sort of 18, 20. So her hand-dyed yarns are a lot more affordable, and she does a lot of these like speckled colours, which are really pretty. So yeah, so I've got that one. I've got these as well, and this is the base that she's used, I think, is called Zebra, and that's why it's got those black stripes through it, as I've seen some other hand dyes use that base as well. So yeah, so there's 2, there's like one with reds. So what I was going to do is I was going to pair this one with this one for a shawl, probably a crocheted one, and then I was going to maybe pair these 2 together for the one that I'm planning, that I'll talk about once all my yarn's out. So yeah, so that's not all my hedgerow yarns, because I've got some minis from her as well. So here's a little pack of minis. So if you don't know what minis are, they are usually 10 or 20 gram balls, and you get them often in a set like this, but you can buy singles of like hand-dyed yarn, and they're really good for like scrappy projects or just adding. I know a lot of people use minis to do like the toe bit and the heel and the cuff on socks, so they're really popular. So yeah, so I've got some of her minis, and in fact I think all of these are hedgerow minis as well. Yeah, look, some more hedgerows, and hers are really affordable again. So yeah, they're all of my hedgerow minis. That's quite a lot, isn't it? So yeah, but I'm saving up the minis and the leftovers because I want to do a blanket, potentially of either solid squares or solid hexagons, in lots of minis, and make it really scrappy and fun. But that's like a long-term project that I'm saving all of this for, and like adding leftovers to until I have enough to make a blanket. But yeah, they're so fun. Oh, we've got another one. We missed one. There's another one. Well, that one's really pretty actually. And then in here we've got some more sort of leftovers as well. Like that's some 4-ply. That's an alpaca blend that I thought I'd sold. I thought I'd sold all of my yarn of that. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I missed some. And there's just some more like scraps and leftovers. And then this basket I actually crocheted out of this sock yarn. You can see I held 2 strands double, and that's how I got these like pooled bits in it, and I thought that was really fun to keep my minis in. It's quite stiff as well because it's the same as this brand, the Knit, this Knit Global brand. I picked them up really cheap at Yarn Dyers in 2016. I never really used them until last year when I made this basket, which I really love. But I've also got this one that's coming apart, and that's the same brand, and I don't really like these colours. So actually, I was talking to my mum about hand-dyed yarn today, so I might... Ooh, it's called Paradise. She loves bright colours, so I bet this is right up her street. I might give this to her because she's learning to crochet. So yeah, Mum, if you're watching, do you want this yarn? So yeah, because it's... I don't think these are my colours. This one, yes. This one, no. So yeah, I might give that away. But yeah, so these are all Knit Global. That one's called Paradise. What's this one called? It doesn't have a name. And then I don't know where the label is for this one. So yeah, let's get that out. Oh, I've got some more little scraps in the bottom here. So the problem is when you have your yarn in a box is you rummage through it and stuff gets all... Yeah, so I've got quite a lot of that left over actually. I should make another basket because I've got this as well that I quite like the two of them together though. That could make a really nice pair of socks if I actually get into sock knitting. But okay, so yeah, and then this is some Knit Global again, and it's just some undyed sock yarn that I picked up for cheap at Yarn Dyers in 2016 as well, and that one's coming apart a bit too. But yeah, so this stuff I've not used. I bought it in 2016 and I've not used it. And it's quite, the problem I have with it is it's soft, like sock yarns, especially the high twist ones are really soft, but this is quite rough. It feels a bit, I wonder if it's like Blueface Leicester. No, it's not. It's 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon. So that's not what I was expecting, but it feels like, you know how Blueface Leicester can have that rough feeling? That's how it feels to me. It feels rough. So I didn't want to make a shawl out of it. And that's what I've used my sock yarn for really, and yeah, so maybe I should try and make some socks out of them. But yeah, anyway, that's all my Knit Global ones. I have frogged the shawl. This is what I frogged the shawl from. So this is some Malabrigo sock, and it's like a commercially available sock yarn that's like got these semi-solid tonal type colours. I've got some more of it here. I used this in a shawl at some point. This looks black on screen, but it's actually like a dark olive green colour. And then I've got some blue here. I did a Colour Affection shawl out of these three, and I left it in my knitting bag waiting to be blocked, and now it's got holes in it. But those three together are beautiful, aren't they? So I need to use these to repair the holes in my Colour Affection shawl because it's really lovely and I want to wear it. Like, it's so pretty, and I wanted to make one for so long before I actually knitted it up a few years ago. It's just sat in my knitting bag and now it's got holes in it from where, like, I'm assuming knitting needles and stuff have poked through it, but I need to try and be more organised with the stuff. So yeah. I've got some labels here for some yarn, and I don't even know what yarn that's from. They're not attached to anything. Looks like it'll be hand-dyed. What's it from? Molly Cuddle Yarns. Yes, this is from that. I think this is to go with that. This bluey colour that I use for my Colour Affection shawl. I mean, look at those colours. They're so pretty. I think it's from that, but it might not be. I don't know. I bought a lot of this quite a few years ago, so it's hard to know. What else we've got here? Oh, we've got a lost mini skein and some more Malabrigo sock here. In like this reddy colour, which I really love. It's like burgundy, and that was, I've already shown you that one. So yeah, so now the box is empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out all of my hand-dyed sock yarn together, and then I'm going to pull out what I want to use for a shawl, and I'll have a chat about the shawl. So this is it all laid out. It's very pretty, but look how much there is. Like, I actually have a problem, I think. Like, this is just the lace, the sock and the 4-ply. I think I have a yarn buying problem. I need to use the yarn that I have before I buy more. And this is only 1.5 boxes worth of my like 6-box stash. This is not even the stuff I use regularly. I use double knit more regularly than sock and 4-ply and lace. Like, I have no business having all of this yarn. I need to use it. Let's just have a look at how pretty it is, just for a bit longer though. Okay, so I lied. It wasn't even all of it. There's more there. Okay, so let's talk plans for this yarn. So I've said about the mini skeins and the leftovers being like a long-term collection thing for a blanket at some point in the future, probably in a few years. But I've been learning, focus, there we go. I've been learning Tunisian crochet. It's something I tried years ago and I didn't really get on with it. And then I followed a tutorial on YouTube by TL Yarn Crafts, and I have Tunisian crocheted this headband that needs blocking and sewing together. And then I thought, I'm enjoying this more than I enjoy knitting. I love the look of knitting and I like the end result, but the process isn't as enjoyable as crochet for me. So I'm like, well, I want another shawl. Let's do a Tunisian crochet shawl. So then I mocked up a little bit of a pattern. This is not the colours I'm going to use, but this is the pattern. So I've worked out how to get a bit of a triangle shape. I'm probably going to I did the increases every row here. I might do them every other row. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, so it's just Tunisian simple stitch, and then I've done like a faded bit here between two colours. And that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing for a shawl out of some of this sock yarn. And I want it to be quite big and I want it to be very colourful. So that's my goal, is to pick some of this yarn out, the sock yarn at the back here, out to make a shawl out of. So I'll go and grab the colour that I'm thinking, and I might move the camera a bit actually over to, because we're actually by the lace weight down here, because we've got the lace weight here, got some 4-ply at the back there, and then the rest is sock. So I'm going to move over there towards the sock, and then we'll pick some colours out and see what we think. Okay, so this is the Lonely Mountains yarn that I said at the beginning, that came today, that I want to use because of the colours in it, and it's only 50 grams. So what I'm thinking is, if I'm going to do like a fade, but I want it quite big, I was thinking of using like either a mini, a 50 and then 200s, or 250s and 200 grams. So we'll see what we get. But yeah, so that's kind of the colours that I want to go for. I want to go quite bright, use some like variegated yarn, because I think the Tunisian simple stitch will look really lovely in like a variegated yarn, because of like the way that the rows work together and the forward and the backward passes. So yeah, so that is probably definite colour. So I'm just going to separate it out, and then I will pick some other yarn that I think might go nicely with this, and we'll plan the shawl together. Okay, so I've separated them out, so I'm going to add that red mini to my minis in the middle. So that's the one we're going for. And then I would like to use some of my hedgerow yarns, because I've got quite a few and I've not used them yet. And this one's already wound into a cake. That does actually go quite nicely. Actually, I was actually gonna use that pink one there, but I think, because I don't want to, they're both quite similar. They look the same, but they're not. They're similar. This one's got more blue in it, and it's like a pinker background, whereas this is more like cream with pink bits. So they looked more different in the pictures than they do in real life. So yeah, so I'm thinking one of those two with it. Where have I put it? I've lost my yarn. There it is. Okay, so let's put them like either side and see what we think of them together. I mean, they're so similar, I don't think it will really matter which one I use. I think I want to use this one because it's got more blue in it, and this one doesn't have a lot of blue in it, and I would like some more blue in this. And I'm thinking, if I just put that one back, oops, I'm thinking these three, because I think they could make a beautiful fade. Let me just get rid of that. Like that is going to go in the minis too, because I'm not using that one with this. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. They're all like high twist yarn as well, which they look very similar, if not the same bases, even though they're from two different yarn dyers. So that's what I'm thinking, but these two are really similar. That one's just got the black bits, but apart from that, they're really similar, so I really want to use them both in the same project. I don't know. Let's pull out some other ones and see what sort of combinations I can come up with. So I'll put them there. You're not going to be in it. I could put a solid in with them. That would probably look really nice, and that pinky colour does go really nicely with the others. Let me just zoom in a bit on these. So yeah, so I think that pinky colour goes really well with that one. and they're 250s though. What other ones have I got that could work? This one could work because that's quite warm coloured, isn't it? So that one could work, but it's quite similar to that one. So it would be one or the other rather than both. Oh, I'm not showing those very well. So yeah, so they're quite similar though. That one's got less blue in it. Ooh, look at that purple at the bottom. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I want to use that one, actually, thinking about it. What about this one? This is like a little set. I could use both in the set, like have that at the top and that at the bottom, and the variegated ones in between, like maybe go the yellow, the pink, the bright, like in that order of fade. That one to that one to that one to that one. That one's got more blue in it though. I don't know. This is hard. Because like, I don't know if I'm ever going to do a Tunisian crochet shawl again. So who knows? Ooh, that one over there might work. Because that is kind of like that, but there's less of it. So that could, it's a 50 versus 100. So I could save the pink one for like a project where that's the main colour and use that at the top of the fade to then go into, oh yeah. I mean, look at those two together. You would think they came from the same dyer. They're so similar. They're so similar. Ooh. Yeah, I like those two together. So I think we've got to their 50s. So that's another 50. So I don't think I'm going to use the solid. So I could do that as the fade. Because I think that could work really nicely together. I'm using 3 different yarns and I'm using the Koigu Painters Palette Pro. That's one of the ones from Lonely Mountain Yarns and that's Hedgerow Yarns. So that could work really nicely actually. And I like that there's more blue and green in that bit and it's kind of picked up in some of the little flecks in the other two. I think I'm going to use these 3. I was going to do 4. But, so that's 200 grams. Is 200 grams enough for, I want this shawl to be big. Is it enough? Is the next question. Could have the red at the end. That reddy colour at the end. That could look quite nice actually. Although I did really want to use this red with a pink because it's kind of got some like rusty brown in it. I don't know if you can see it. It's got some like rusty brown in it. So I feel like that could work really well. I feel like my voice is starting to go a bit now as well from like talking a lot and being ill. And then I could obviously go, like I was going to use this with one of this one. So I think they go quite nicely together. But that one could lead on quite nicely from that one because there is the black flecks in there and that's almost like a blacky blue colour there. This is hard. Like I should probably have looked up like what quantities of yarn I actually need for this before I thought about doing it. But if I make it shallower, just these 3 colours could work because I feel like this little sample that I've got, it goes, so that's where I'm thinking of doing like a fade between 2 different colours. So I feel like that is quite a severe one, but if I made it like a shallower triangle, that could work really well with just these colours. So I think I might just do that. I think I might change my mind again, but I'm going to come away from this thinking that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to do a shallow triangle with these 3 because I think they work really lovely together. Okay, decision made. So let's have a chat about the rest of the yarn. So, like I said, so the lace weight that's over there, I'm going to probably... Ooh, you can kind of see my microphone there now. So the lace weight that's there, so this is all the lace weight. I'm not 100% sure. I might sell some. I'm not sure yet. I'm not going to sell the Rialto double knit because I want to use some multi-sew, so that's going to become some sort of a cardigan. And some of the other lace I might hold double with some sock to make it go further. Because it will add like thickness, and I think the combining the white with some of the hand-dyed could make them sort of mesh together really nicely. So yeah, and then the other pattern I've been wanting to do for a while, and I bought it a long while ago, is actually, so it's a knitted shawl called Ashburn, and I will put a picture of it here maybe, or maybe a link to the Ravelry page, I'm not sure. And I really want to use, where is it? This for it, as the bottom of the triangle. with like maybe a pink, maybe this in the middle, and then maybe this as the other point. Oh yeah, that looks good. I think that could be a really lovely knitted shawl, because I haven't, and it's just a lot of garter stitch. So I feel like that could be a good thing for when I'm finished my knitted cardigan. That's my only knitting project at the minute. Although I did want to knit the Gandalf socks. But I kind of don't want to separate the Gandalf set yet because of how pretty the label is. I'm going to take these out and I'm going to cake them up so they're ready to be used. And I'm going to put all of the whole skeins back together. And I think some of this needs winding into cakes because it's so messy, and there's some stuff that needs frogging over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the hand-dyed yarn back and everything that's ready to go back in the box, back in the box. The lace I'm going to move to another box because I'm not fitting all of this back in one box. So I'll put this back in a box and then I'll cake some stuff up and I'll maybe show you a shot of it all organised back into the box. Okay, so I've kind of organised them. So this is all the sock and the 4-ply that's ready to be stored. Then in here, this box was full of unfinished objects, but I've actually finished a lot of them now, and that's all that's left. So the rest of that now is lace that's ready to be stored. And then this is all stuff that's not ready to be stored, or there's what I'm going to use for the shawl there. And this all needs either untangling, frogging, or winding into balls with my yarn winder. So I'm not going to do that today because I feel pretty rough now after talking for so long and doing all of this. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. So yeah, I'll sign off now and I will see you on Friday for a crochet tutorial.